All right, so we're Layla Rose Ranch, all right, and I'm the head ranch hand at Layla Rose Ranch, just so you know. And we're on our way to go get our hay. This is a kind of a weekly routine for us, mostly because when we created the ranch, we have an 11-acre, Layla Rose Ranch is an 11-acre dedicated horse ranch. Nobody lives there. It's 100% built and done as a horse rescue. But when we did it, it was a deer lease when we bought it, and so we had to clear all these trees, and a lot of trees that were kind of hazardous to horses. We had to clear out and do that, and then clear for the barn and for the quarantine center and so on. And when we did that, it took the grass with it. And so, as you can see in a lot of our videos and live streams, you'll see that we've got a lot of, especially when it rains, we'll get a big mud pasture. We're making a run now for some hay because we're expecting rain here in a couple of hours. And so when it rains here in our area in North Texas, it comes down hard, and so we got to bring the horses in and try to keep them out of the elements. Some of ours, because of the way we treat them, become kind of babies when it comes to rain, and so they will not want to get in. The minute it starts sprinkling, they'll come running to the barn because we leave the paddock and the stalls open all the time for them during the day, because we have waters inside the stalls as well, so they can get their water or whatever. So usually it's pretty easy to bring them in when it starts raining in that process. So we get all of our hay. Our process for feeding, just so you know, is what we want to try to do is we want to be a forage only type of diet for the horses, because we find that that's what's best for their gut health. Now we'll supplement that with something like an omega match and Purina, which is a ration balancer, to make sure that they're getting all the nutrients, because when they're living totally on forage, sometimes they're not getting 100% of what they need. But we do that. That's one thing that we do. But this other thing that we do is where we buy our hay. Hay USA is where we buy our hay, and that's where everybody should buy their hay, as far as I'm concerned. Because Liz, who owns it and has had it forever, you've never met anybody that knows as much about hay, about the ingredients in hay and what's there. And so, and plus, this is someone who actually goes pre-harvest to Oregon where they get it, or Washington where they get it, some from California. So she actually goes, watches the facilities, watches the thing, checks everything, and then every load that comes in, she tests herself to check and see, what are we looking at nutrients wise, how much protein, how much sugar, what kind of contents are inside this hay. Because as you guys know, when you're buying hay, you can get a lot of junk in that process. A lot of people like us that are rescues, dollars are precious. It's hard to have any money. It's precious, and so there's a temptation to want to go with whatever cheap hay you can find, and we try to stay away from that, because we found that number one, when we're bringing a horse in, it's had a horrible diet, and that's the reason why it's in the shape that it's in. But number two, it's because we're trying to nurse them back to a healthy status, right? To a healthy state. And so what helps us in that scenario is making sure that what we're giving them in the hay, that the content is not junk kind of stuff. We don't feed any coastal hay to our horses, and again, not trying to put that down, but coastal is very empty. Our horses need protein, our horses need low sugar, they need things that are good for their gut and their diet, and so we don't use any coastal in that process. And because we have no real grass to forage, that's why we rely so much on hay, and so we make these little trips for hay an awful lot in the process. So Hay USA, like I said, where we've been buying it since we started. A lot of you know my wife. Let me answer this question. I know what you're all thinking. You're thinking, how do you become the lead ranch hand at Layla Rose Ranch, right? So that's because it's a job I'm sure everybody wants, is interested. And the answer is this: you have to be married to the founder. Okay, so that was how I became lead ranch hand with the process. My wife started Layla Rose Ranch. She started the idea of rescue, and so since I'd started 6 nonprofits in the past and knew how to do it, when she said she wanted to not just rescue a horse, but to rescue a lot of horses, then we set up Layla Rose Ranch and have now been in operation for 3 years. So this is Hay USA. Out of the way little place here. And she does this. I mean, look at this. There's Liz right there. All right, today what we're focused on is alfalfa for the horses, because every horse gets a flake of alfalfa every morning as a part of that gut health. And then we'll use Timothy or for some horses, and then we use a teff for other horses. So let's go tell us what we need. You want to record the audio something, because hang tight for just a second, because we don't have video capture. What's that? No, let's talk. Just hang tight and keep going.
Okay.
You don't know these people.
I know. And you guys know the sad part is, sad part, you get next year. And he starts getting health insurance when he lives.
100% health insurance, right?
Hell, dude. Yeah. I'm talking.
She tried to keep me to stay, but I can't budge.
What's wrong with you? Okay. So you, my friend, are with me.
We're recording to the stream.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, put him on camera. Hello. All right, so this is the guy who knows how to load all of our hay. And in fact, look at this. They built this little Jenga puzzle, which is like a trail truck. So when a truck trailer comes in, they can practice what they want to do. He doesn't practice because he's been doing it for so long. He knows what to do. I just tell him what I'm doing, which today, like I said, a half of the compressed alfalfa, we'll do a half pallet, and then fill it in with the Timothy, whatever else you can get in.
You want the 100-pound Timothy?
Yeah, the three string.
Okay.
Yeah, the second half 3 string.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll do for that. And I'll just fill that in.
Okay. I didn't know if you wanted to use Liz's truck or not.
No, not today. We're trying to beat the rain.
Fair enough. Okay. Yeah. Let me get it loaded, man.
Okay. So this is the hay that he's getting. We use this hay right here, which is a compressed alfalfa. So this I'm a huge fan of, because the weight of this bale is very easy to manipulate and carry around and move, as opposed to the 100-pound full bales that you normally see. So I love this, especially with our volunteers, because our volunteers having to move the hay, I try to move the hay as much as we can for our volunteers so they don't have to, but this is something that they can easily move, because you're looking at it's kind of a 60-pound bale, as opposed to when we get some of the stuff from Oregon, it's 135-pound bales, and those are just too heavy for any volunteer to kind of lift or move, so we stick away from that. So we stick around that kind of bales, and then of course with we use teff is probably the primary thing that we use in the diet. Teff is amazing because it is strong protein but very low in sugar, and so that's good for them. And it's very full calories. It's not empty calories like we said the coastal kind of stuff is. So we'll do that, and then we'll use Timothy some as well, because of the full grazing that we allow them to do. Just you'll see that what we do is we just put the hay out, and they have full access to that hay. And so we put them inside these little hay huts so that it keeps it from the weather or the elements, but they're allowed to just free range on that. And so that's the reason why sometimes we use Timothy in that mix, because it's a good, strong for them, hay for them. It's a little stemmy, so it keeps them slowing down as well. So that's what I like about it in the process.
My truck is here.
I know, but we're just trying to beat the rain.
Do you want me to take a picture of you in front of the sign?
The sign. We're actually live streaming. Are you okay with that?
I don't care.
Okay, this is Liz. All right,
How
so
do you do?
remember who I was bragging about earlier? This is her,
That's
person
me.
who knows everything there is to know about hay. So this is who you have to talk to.
And I love when they come here and they utilize my truck, because then they can get more at one time.
That is very true.
It's very, very
That's
true.
true. That's
So
right.
would you like me to get a picture of you
with the hay or with the sign? Or
Nope.
just
It's okay.
saying it?
It's okay.
Yep, people are just riding along with us today. This is a real-time animal rescue is this thing, and so they are helping us raise money. And so if we live stream a day in the life of a horse rescue,
It's a big job.
right? That's what they do.
It's a big job. I mean, I know what you guys do, and I know how good you feed.
Yeah.
That's the most important
That's
thing. So what are you getting today?
We're getting a half pallet of the compressed, and then he's going to fill in with some of that Timothy, whatever he can fill. So you hear the thunder?
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. I try
That's
to
why
beat
you don't
that.
want to use the truck, because you don't want to get too much hay.
Yeah.
Got it.
I got to beat that. Yeah.
Got it.
So whatever he can get with.
Why don't you film him?
Yeah.
Which is pretty interesting.
Watch
On
him.
how we load. And they want me to take you in the back so you can see where
Sure.
you come from? Okay,
Yeah.
until it passes on the front. Just have notice. Oh, no. No, I'll take you back.
I did it last time, but I just put 2 on top of that. 1 on top of it. I thought you pushed it in and you put something across the nothing.
If you put two
Put some on top.
if you put two on top this way, it'll kind of hold it with this way. If you put two tied this way and then load this back, is that how you do it?
Well, try and get as many as possible. So what I'll do is I'll put 2 like this. Yeah, the truck's facing this way. I'll put 2 like that, 1 on top, and push the board, and I'll do the 3
Can
on
you do
end.
two on top? And then it'll be like this.
Wait, oh, like 2, like basically 4?
Two on top and then two on top this way.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I would. I mean, it's going to be tall and thin, but
Yeah. That's fine.
it was so beautiful. It's like, oh, let me look at that. Stand over here so we stay out of the way of the forklift. I'm going to wait till he passes. So this is Timothy. The Timothy is the most digestible hay that they could ever buy. And so for these rescues, they buy the best hay available. They just do. And that's why these rescues are coming up and looking as good as they do. Come on, let's go in the back. This is the hay that they're getting. And you see it's like perfect, right? And this is, the proteins are perfect. The sugar levels are perfect. It's soft, it's green, it's clean. And when they get the little bales, which I'm going to show you now, come on. When they get these little bales, which we have over here, these little bales make it to where it saves space and they can actually get more in one little space. So for a horse that's real thin, this is what they get right here. And so when you take 2 of these together, it's 120 pounds. And they're bright enough to understand that to take up the space and utilize 120 pounds in this much space, that's why they get the little ones, because space is definitely an issue. And when they get a box like this, there's 24 little ones in there, which is equivalent to 1,220 pounds, which is really kind of cool. Let's go in the back. Because this is what your dad does. They come here and they check out horses. They always want to see what's going on where. Come on. How beautiful back here, isn't it? So what we do, those are rescues over there, okay? And you see the lumps on them? Those are on round bales for a really long time. And that's what round bales do. And then those ones over there, that one right there, he was a rescue from a fire, okay? And he's got ring bone up to his knees, okay? Let's see if we can find Gracie out. The frog and the dog food. Did you see him?
Yeah.
Nope. 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 I don't know where Gracie is. That's okay. Oh, that's okay. But there's Nate over there. So at Layla Rose, they have hay huts, okay? And this is the hay hut. And at Layla Rose, they have these out in the pastures so that the horses can free feed, like Gracie is. She's got her head down, which is the way they have it at Layla Rose. We have a floor in it, which is what they have at Layla Rose. They put in really premium hay, so the horse is always digesting and is in a natural state when there's no grass. Right? And so this makes it as if it's grass in a pasture when they literally live in captivity. So look at that. There we go. That's Graciela doing her afternoon chomp on. And look at this. This is what Timothy does, and this is why Layla Rose uses it. Okay? Hi, sweetheart. Hi. So she's got a broken coffin bone. There's a broken bone in her foot. She hasn't had exercise since she's 6, okay? But if you come really close, and you don't even have to be close, you can see from afar all the dapples. That means good digestion is what that means, okay? And so for a mare that has not had exercise, you can see her neck is in proportion. She's a big girl. She's just naturally, you can see how big she is in general. This is all good digestion. See, these are dapples, all these dapples. That's all shows good health. And that's what the Timothy does, and that's what Layla Rose does. This exact situation. Perfect Timothy inside the hay hut. And you have real content animals, which is really, really nice. You know? Okay, let's go back in. Come on. So you can see in the hay huts where they eat, they create holes in the ground, okay? They go right to the ground, just as they would if they were in a pasture. And they love the Timothy. They eat it really, really slow. And Layla Rose, you know, they make sure that these animals are getting the nutrition that they need in consideration that these animals have been starved and abused and through a lot of stress. And so, you know, stress of being at killers and being dumped. And so they're bringing them in and now having to put them back to their natural state and change their brain to realize that they're safe and they've got food and they're loved. And with all of those things together, you end up with that. Let's go inside. That mare over there is 23 years old.
Wow.
Anyway, he's getting your truck loaded. Come on, hold on.
Taking a break today?
No.
Sit down and
So let's show them what you guys got today. Okay.
Shouldn't need to tie this strap.
No, I think that's perfect. You shouldn't need to tie that at all. And you see the way it's loaded? It's loaded perfect so they could drive off and they're safe. Okay? But today on this little truck, because they're not going far. Okay, let's do the math on this one. Ready? Come here. It's okay. You don't need to. You ready to do the math on this one?
On the mat, okay.
Let's do the math. So you've got 60 times 12.
Okay.
What's that?
720.
720. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's 10 times 100. It's 1,000 pounds, right? It's 1,000. So you got 1,720 pounds on here, right? And so this will last you, depending on your horses, because when you free feed in the hay hut like they do, so the horses can be back to their natural state, this will last them basically till next week if all the horses are eating what they're naturally supposed to, which is at Layla Rose, what they do, they put them back into their natural state. That's what it's all about.
They're doing good.
They're doing real good. Okay, let's go in the office.
Oh, I thought it was 2.
I have a place out north here, and we have a mountain lion that comes through every year, and we had about 40.
Okay. So today it's 12 second cut, and I think I said we have 10 second Timothy, right? All right. Here we go. 12 second compress. And you've got 10. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so what they're getting is 12 compressed Timothy at $28, which is going to be a total of $336. And then they're going to get 10 Timothy at $46, which is going to be a total of $460 plus 336 equals $796. So this week they spent $796 to feed the horses premium hay for the whole week. And, you know, that's why, you know, things come up and say, we need help with hay. That's where it comes from. And they don't compromise. And that's why it's so important, you know, to make sure that we all chip in. Fair enough? Here we go. 8. Sweetheart, would you do me a favor? Would you go get Dad's credit card for me?
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, yeah, but I don't have to worry about this one. Either.
Right, yeah, you can
You know,
throw
this
that
one
one
can have
across
a bad day, but it works out getting on practice. Right? Huh? Yeah.
your card?
I don't have a card. Oh. That's always big. The Apple Pay.
You want to end the video?
Huh? I don't care. Apple Pay on the phone, so how we do it. I store the card. That way it goes to the ranch account.
Yeah.
Balances with all the stuff. Okay. So we are paid, and we have our hay. As you can see, it costs a lot to feed right. There's a balance with that. The cost of hay. People are like, oh, that's a lot of money on hay. I will tell you that where we see the benefits on the other side of the vet bills. We had, before we started using Liz at Hay USA and getting our education from her and her tested hay and so on, we would have all the problems with colic, gas colic and so on. Since switching and doing all this, none. And anybody live stream with us right now knows that gas colic or any kind of colic is incredibly expensive. And so the fact that we haven't had one since we switched, I think that's all testimonial I need. So our hay costs have gone up for sure, but our vet costs have gone down. Now, where we see the biggest vet costs, of course, is when they first come in to the rescue. Remember I told you that as a lead ranch hand, which, by the way, is a volunteer job. Everything is volunteer. We don't have any staff at all. My wife receives no money, and we receive zero money. My wife and I built the facility. We pay for the facility. We do the maintenance upkeep all ourselves on the facility. And all of that is so that when you're making a donation and you're trying to help out a horse, you know that money goes there. In fact, 97 cents of every dollar that's donated to us goes directly to the care of a horse. I don't know how many nonprofits can actually say that, and I think we get a lot of pride in ourselves. We have a lot of pride for that fact, is that, you know, you got bank fees, accounting fees, web fees, online fees to do things like this that you still have to have the kind of overhead. But you know that if you put $1 in, you know, 97 cents of that dollar went directly to the care of a horse, and that's pretty remarkable, for sure, to say the least. But my wife, so we're kind of a boutique horse rescue, is what I like to call us, because we're not big in operation. And in fact, I don't think we ever will be big in operation. My wife, number one, has a heart for the hard cases. And so when she is watching auctions, when she is watching situations and sees what's going on, she just gets drawn to that horse. We'll grab it, she'll send me, we'll go pick it up and bring it in. And that's where the vet bills are, right? Because she will bring in the hard cases, the sickest, the horses, the ones that are dead. Now, we can only do so many at a time because of quarantining and really the expense of it, you know, as well. But that's where we see our biggest vet bills, is on the front end, to do something, because we, you know, a lot of them come in, usually strangles, tons of worms, no vaccines, no hoof care, no teeth. We had a 4-year-old that we brought in recently and never had teeth done in the whole 4 years that's been done. Not sure about the hoofs, because when my wife started working with her, she would lift her leg, like she remembered that, so probably had some hoof care at some point in time, but never any teeth care, dental care, or any other kind of vet care that we could see, you know, done on her. So, but the reason why we stay small is my wife, these hard cases. These hard cases are usually the ones that are very abused, neglected, have had a lot of hard life, for sure. And the biggest thing is when you hear about what we do: rescue, rebuild, relive, right? That's our 3 R's that we talk about. What that means is rescue is the obvious part. Everybody gets that. You're rescuing them. The rebuild part is to rebuild their trust in humans and people, because the big thing that we see is these horses have been abused, they've been neglected. We have a fill-in right now. She's a yearling, and she is terrified of me. My wife has now gotten to touch her and be around her, and she's responding to her, but she is terrified of me. So obviously it tells us that whoever was the abuser, whoever was the problem in her life was male, because she still has a problem with me. But we'll keep working with her. I just will, go stand with her while she's eating, and don't try to touch her, don't force her or anything at all. So a lot of people would say when you bring in a horse, then it's like bringing in a wild horse, the ones that we're getting, because they have to start over. So we're rebuilding their trust in people, their trust in humans. That's hard because there's two parts to rebuild: rebuilding trust in women, rebuilding trust in men, right? Both, because there's always that problem. The second thing we're trying to redo is rebuild their trust in themselves, because I'll be honest with you, a lot of the horses that we bring in, they have no idea what happened. Why was I treated this way? Why was my life this way? Why did it end up being this way? I don't get it. I don't understand. And so they don't trust themselves. Like, they're afraid to make a move. They're afraid to do a behavior. They're afraid to do something because they're like, is this when I got in trouble? Was it when I did this? Is this what got him mad at me? Is this what got him in trouble? So the rebuild really has two sides of it. One is rebuilding trust in people, and then rebuilding trust in themselves. We want them to trust themselves as well. But when you go back to how we start that process, this is my wife is like, she's fanatical about this. It's real simple. You come to our ranch, you'll see we don't have a rope where we go lasso horses, where we pull them into stocks, where we don't have anything like that. Everything is done from a very gentle touch. In fact, my wife believes that because we could do that, here's what she'll tell you. She says, we could do that. Here's the problem. They'll respond out of fear when they get to their forever home. In essence, I'll do things because I'm afraid of getting in trouble. I'll do things because I don't want someone to get mad at me. I don't want to get hurt. I don't want to end up back in that scenario where I got ripped from my family. I got ripped from whatever. We have a 4-month-old in right now that you've probably seen, Chloe, or not Chloe, Petunia. We have 2 4-months-old. Petunia's mom already was shipped, right? So she was shipped off and separated from her. We don't even know what happened to her. Petunia doesn't know what happened to her, right? So Petunia's kind of like, I don't get it, what's going on, doesn't understand. And so if we use force, which is absolutely possible to do in a horse, right? It's absolutely possible with any animal to force them into submission and doing that. That's what they will respond to. But my wife's philosophy is let's have them respond to us because they want to respond to us. So she oftentimes, when a new horse comes in, does nothing more but sit on the ground in the area with them, or sit with them while they're eating for hours, right? And allow them to come over and be curious and sniff, and what are you all about? And what's this like? And eventually earn their trust, eventually earn the right for touch, and eventually then earn the right, okay, now we can touch, now let's go to halter, okay, now let's go to leading, now let's go to getting them all what they need, ready for the vet and all that kind of stuff. So our process takes a long time, and we're fine with that. We're fine with the fact that our process takes way longer than most people would with working with a horse or training a horse. But that's why. It's because foundationally what we're trying to build with that horse is that people are not evil, because right now that's what they think, and bad, but also that they can have a relationship, they can have a bond with people, and on their terms. And I think that's always what my wife focuses to us and the other volunteers is want the horse to approach on their terms, because when they do, they will now obey out of respect. They'll now obey out of care and concern. So unlike our kids, we all know that the best form of showing love to a parent is when children obey, right? When they're obedient, we're like, guys, we feel that, right? And we're proud of that, and we feel like they respect and love us in that situation. And the horse is no different in that way. And so that's why the build part of the rebuild part takes so long for us. Every horse that first comes in, yeah, this is a property right here that we would love to have, right? This is like, I think this is 287 acres of nice, beautiful, rolling pasture. I don't know if they're making the hay run every week and paying as much as we are for every week, because they've got all that beautiful pasture, but maybe one day we'll get to that point, for sure. But every horse, when they're brought in, comes into our quarantine center. We built the quarantine center as a separate, again, remember when we built our ranch, we built it saying this is going to be a rescue. So even our barn design and layout is different than what you traditionally see, because we built it as a rescue. Our round pen, our arena, we have an outdoor arena. It's 60 by 100, and like it's a little bit small for an outdoor arena, but it's because we're working with rescue horses, right? We're not trying to train horses for performance or train horses for competition. We're just trying to get them back to where they can be under saddle, or at least trusting people, get their groundwork started, and then you can take them from there, which is even better, right? Because building that bond with you and their forever home. So the quarantine center is a separate thing. It has it's got a row barn with it, with a couple of stalls in it, its own tack. We keep all the tack separate, its own water supply, its own feed supply. We keep everything separated. All the tools, everything are completely separate for the quarantine center from the rest of the ranch. Most horses will spend their first 30 days in the quarantine center before they're cleared by the vet. Sometimes that can take longer. It depends on what we're dealing with. I think Daisy that we have in right now, Daisy's going to be longer. Daisy came in and recently had given birth, but they're just, she's dealing with so much in her internal organs and so what's going on. It's just going to take a lot longer to get her there. She's dealt with strangles, EPM, worms. We got a ton of sand in her because the lot where she was pulled from, I mean, she was scavenging for hay into the dirt, right? Just trying to find something because they weren't feeding her right and properly. And so she's going to take a little bit longer, and cost a little bit more in that process. But once they get through that part, once they're through quarantine, then my wife will begin the training. The training process actually starts in the quarantine center. She's doing basic, simple groundwork in the quarantine center, getting them to yield their hindquarters, starting to get used to what a lunge line's like and so on, and she's starting to work with them. We follow the method, Clinton Anderson's method in our training process. My wife's not 100% on Clinton Anderson's stuff. He's a little bit forceful at things again, but foundationally, the principles, things we do, phenomenal. It works well with our horses, and so that's what we do. And it's also very respectful of the horse and building a relationship with the horse, and not, pushing the boundaries to force it to do what you want or be what you want. It's very, very strong about understanding, how to put the pressure on or release the pressure, in order for that horse to respond appropriately. And so we do follow that method. So she'll start teaching them some of those basics even in quarantine, just so they can get started in the process. And so then we'll move to trying to pull them out and integrate them into one of the larger pastures. And the larger pastures are designed, so it could be integrated into a herd, if you will. We have three horses that make up our main, that are all rescues. The first one was the Cletus horse you'll hear my wife talk about constantly, because that's her heart horse. And that was the first horse we ever rescued. And then the second horse we rescued was Shelby. Shelby was actually pregnant, so we had Shelby deliver. We got Shelby ready. We were getting Shelby ready for adoption after the baby, after Layla, who the ranch is named after, which was her daughter. After she got to be about a year, we were getting her ready, and then realized something was wrong. My wife was noticing something in her gait, noticing her drop a lot as she was walking, and so had her tested and checked out, and sure enough, she has DSLD. And so my wife made the decision that a horse with DSLD, you don't know. Is it a year? Is it 4 years? You don't know. You just know that it's, not a long life for them. And so she made the decision to keep Shelby as a resident because of her health situation, rather than adopt her out to somebody who, because DSLD, we have to, there's shots that we have to give her. There's a daily supplement, a couple things that she's on every day. She's on Equiox pills every day. So there's a lot of expense that goes into having that horse kind of deal with the DSLD and extending their life even with DSLD. And that's not something that we thought that we wanted to put on someone in a rescue situation, or in essence in an adoption situation. And so my wife just decided to make her a permanent resident with that. So those three make up kind of their own little herd. And then we have another group that are rescue horses that she'll blend them together in and out. But Buddy, which is a rescue that again probably is going to turn into a resident, because his abuse was so bad and damaged so bad to one of his eyes, from where you could see the scar where he had been whipped across it and smacked across it, and we eventually had to take his eye because we just couldn't save it. And everybody believes a one-eyed horse is useless and can't do it. And of course now he's older. He's about 19 now. And so a lot of people are just saying, yeah, no thanks, I want a younger horse, I want something else. And so Buddy may end up being a resident too, as a process. Don't know, we'll find out. We will find out. It's funny, but I'm assuming people know that you're actually videoing. You know what I mean? Like, it's not me driving around, moving the camera around. One of our daughters is running the camera. That's who I'm talking to in this process, because we didn't, obviously not safe to drive and run a live stream at the same time. So that's why my daughter's been told to do the recording today in that process. So. Hopefully you guys, I'm sure you guys are all incredibly impressed by Liz. There are people, there was a lady there that had just drove 2.5 hours to pick up hay. I have met people there from out of state, like driven from Arizona. I've met people driven from Arkansas just to buy hay from her, because of how smart she is, how much she knows, and how much you can trust the quality of her hay. A lot of people, there's a lot of places you can buy hay, all over places we can buy hay, and we are committed to buying from her because of what you see. She gets the fact that we're working with rescue. She understands the specific need and delicacies of those horses, and has really been a great partner to us on helping that. She's actually come out and done some clinics on teaching people on hay and stuff at the ranch, and so we really appreciate her and her partnership. And I really call it a partnership because of the way she helps us and takes care of us. And people a lot of times will, when they're picking up their hay, will pay for an extra bale and leave it for us, so that we have it. And that happens a lot. Over there, people who watch my wife on Facebook or TikTok and are local to where we are here in North Texas will oftentimes do that piece. So, okay. Made it back to the ranch. So as you can see on the ranch, what I was talking about before, all of these trees, see how treed it is? This is how the entire property was. Very densely treed, and so it's beautiful, it's wonderful to come in and see that, but obviously you can't have pastures and you can't have that piece. So one of the things too, we're incredibly concerned about safety. My wife's really concerned about safety, fires and stuff like that. And so we actually, this barn right here is what we call our feed barn. This is where we keep all the hay, grains, everything that we're feeding them. Now earlier I told you that we're a forage, that's our belief, is forage with a little supplement. Obviously when we're bringing somebody in that's a rescue, it can't just be forage because of what their needs are. So we do have grain. We got some maramfuls in there right now, so they're on the Marineful grain. We've got some senior grains when we get the senior ones in, and so that makes a difference for us as well. We do have some grains, but we keep it all here because it gets 106 in Texas, and so my wife worries about fires, and you can't get out. Look, hang on. I parked you against the tree.
There's a deer.
What's that? The deer here?
They were.
There you guys go. We have 8 deer that live on property, 2 that were born a couple months ago. They're looking big though, so it's might be born a couple months ago.
There's one right back there. There's one back there.
They'll come back, yeah. So this is our feed barn. You can see we keep the hay in here, the grains in here, supply, all that kind of stuff. This is our friend, aside from that, because this is what we drive the hay back for and move. So as you can see, we were needing hay. We were ready for more hay in the process. So anyway, well, thanks for joining us on this live stream. I know the last thing you want to do is watch people unload hay. That seems to be very boring, but appreciate you riding along with us today at Layla Rose Ranch, meeting where we get our hay and feed and how great that is. And gosh, just keep following us and keep making a difference.